Are you eating what you believe are the healthiest foods, taking your medications on time, following doctor's orders, and yet you still feel tired, inflamed, foggy, or weaker with age? Here's a surprising question I want you to sit with for a moment. What if living to 100 has very little to do with superfoods, supplements, or extreme diets, and much more to do with how a few simple foods talk to your body every single day? Most seniors I meet are trying very hard to do the right things. They cut fat, avoid salt, eat smaller portions, and follow decades-old nutrition advice. But despite those efforts, we see rising rates of diabetes, heart disease, dementia, frailty, and loss of independence as we age. So what's really going on inside the body? Here's what's rarely explained clearly. Aging is not just about time, it's about biology. And the biology that determines whether you age fast or slow is deeply connected to your metabolism, your immune system, and your body's ability to repair itself. In fact, when researchers study people who live past 90 or even 100, whether in Okinawa, Sardinia, or Loma Linda, they don't find one magic pill. What they consistently find is something much simpler and much more powerful. Daily foods that quietly reduce inflammation, stabilize blood sugar, protect blood vessels, and activate the body's natural defense and repair systems. Not expensive, not trendy, and definitely not what most people expect. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body like a house that's been standing for 70 or 80 years. Longevity isn't about adding fancy furniture. It's about protecting the wiring, the plumbing, and the foundation. In biological terms, that means your blood vessels, your immune defenses, your liver and metabolic system, and your cell's ability to clean up damage. And here's the key insight most people miss. Certain everyday foods act like daily maintenance tools for these systems. They don't just provide calories, they send signals. Signals that tell your body to repair instead of inflame, to burn fat instead of store it, to protect brain cells instead of damaging them. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through what seniors should actually be eating every day to dramatically increase their odds of living longer, stronger, and more independent lives, not by chasing fads, not by starving the body, and not by relying on medication alone. Instead, we'll focus on how food communicates with your metabolism, your hormones, and your immune system, and how small daily choices can shift your biology toward longevity. By the end of this talk, you'll understand why some healthy foods accelerate aging, which simple foods quietly protect your heart, brain, and immune system, and how to build a daily eating pattern that supports living well into your 90s and beyond. And I promise you this, the foods we'll talk about are not what you think. Here's what's really going on inside your body as you age, and almost no one explains this clearly. Your body has built-in defense and repair systems that are designed to protect you from cancer, infections, vascular damage, and cognitive decline. Scientists call this your immune surveillance and cellular cleanup system. When you're younger, this system runs automatically. Damaged cells are removed, inflammation is resolved, blood vessels repair themselves. But with age, this system becomes quieter, not because it's broken, but because it stops getting the right signals. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body as a city. Every night, garbage trucks are supposed to come out and clean the streets, removing trash, broken materials, and debris. That cleanup keeps the city healthy. As we age, those garbage trucks don't disappear. They just stop getting dispatched as often. In biological terms, those garbage trucks are processes like autophagy, immune surveillance, and anti-inflammatory signaling, and food is one of the strongest dispatch signals. What the research shows is that certain everyday foods activate these longevity pathways, while others silently shut them down, even if they seem healthy. One of the most powerful systems influenced by food is something Dr. William Li often talks about, the immune system's role in longevity. Your immune cells don't just fight infections, they patrol for damaged cells, early cancer cells, and inflamed tissues. But here's the key. An overfed, constantly spiked insulin environment confuses the immune system. High blood sugar and frequent snacking keep insulin elevated. Insulin tells the body, store energy, grow, build. That's helpful when you're young. But later in life, that same signal blocks cleanup and repair. Now here's the surprising part. Longevity foods are not exotic. They are low glycemic, polyphenol-rich, fiber-dense foods that gently stress the body in a good way. a concept called hormesis. Examples include leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables, berries, legumes, nuts, and seeds, extra virgin olive oil, green tea, and coffee in moderation. These foods do something remarkable. They activate protective genes without overwhelming the metabolic system. Research shows that polyphenols in foods like berries, olive oil, and green tea activate pathways linked to reduced inflammation and improved immune balance, the same pathways observed in centenarians. Here's a practical daily protocol seniors can actually follow. Build meals around plants first, not starches. Add healthy fats to slow glucose absorption. Eat within a gentle eating window, not constant grazing. Stop eating at least 3 hours before bed. This isn't starvation, this is signaling. And if this explanation is helping you see food differently, take a moment to subscribe. I post clear, science-based strategies like this every day to help you age with strength and clarity. The takeaway here is simple but powerful. Longevity isn't about eating more. It's about eating foods that tell your body to protect, repair, and defend itself. And most seniors are missing that signal. Next, we'll look at one of the biggest longevity mistakes: foods that are labeled healthy but quietly accelerate aging by disrupting blood sugar and insulin. One of the biggest reasons seniors struggle to age well has nothing to do with calories. It has everything to do with blood sugar and insulin signaling. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Many foods labeled healthy quietly accelerate aging. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every time you eat foods that rapidly turn into sugar, breads, cereals, rice, fruit juices, low-fat snacks, your blood glucose rises. In response, your pancreas releases insulin. Insulin's job is simple: move sugar out of the blood and into storage. When this happens occasionally, your body handles it beautifully. But when it happens all day, every day, insulin never gets a break. Let me explain this with a whiteboard-style analogy. Think of insulin like a delivery truck. It moves fuel into warehouses. If deliveries happen nonstop, the warehouses overflow. Eventually, the system becomes inefficient. Doors jam, trucks back up. In your body, that's called insulin resistance. Now here's the aging connection most people miss. Chronically elevated insulin blocks fat burning, increases inflammation, damages blood vessels, accelerates brain aging, suppresses cellular repair pathways. This is why someone can be thin and still metabolically unhealthy. What the research shows is that centenarians consistently maintain stable blood sugar, not low calories. Their bodies spend more time in repair mode than storage mode. And here's the shocking part. Many seniors are told to eat frequent small meals, avoid fats, rely on grains for energy. That advice made sense decades ago. But today we know it keeps insulin elevated all day long. Longevity isn't built on constant eating. It's built on metabolic rhythm. So what should seniors eat instead? The goal is not keto extremes. The goal is glucose stability. Foods that support this include non-starchy vegetables, especially leafy greens, healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, nuts, moderate protein from fish, eggs, legumes. Whole foods with intact fiber. Fiber is critical here. Fiber slows digestion, feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and blunts glucose spikes. That's why beans, long misunderstood, show up repeatedly in longevity research. Now let's talk timing. A simple, powerful protocol is this. Eat 3 real meals, not constant snacks. Avoid sugar and refined carbs in the morning. Front-load protein and fiber earlier in the day. Finish dinner earlier in the evening. Even a 12-hour eating window, for example, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity in older adults. No starvation, no extremes, just giving insulin time to come down. The result? When insulin lowers, fat becomes accessible for energy, inflammation decreases. The immune system functions better. Cellular repair pathways reactivate. This is why people often report better energy, clearer thinking, less joint pain, improved sleep. And here's the key takeaway for this section. Aging accelerates when insulin stays high. Longevity improves when blood sugar stays steady. Next, we're going to talk about something even more fundamental than the heart itself, the blood vessels, and why protecting them is one of the most powerful longevity strategies known to science. When most people think about living longer, they think about the heart. But here's what's really going on inside your body. Your heart can only be as healthy as the blood vessels that feed it. In fact, when scientists study why people suffer heart attacks, strokes, dementia, or kidney failure, the root cause is often the same: damage to the inner lining of blood vessels, called the endothelium. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Picture your blood vessels as a network of garden hoses delivering oxygen and nutrients to every organ: your brain, muscles, heart, and even your skin. When those hoses are smooth and flexible, blood flows easily. But with age, high blood sugar, inflammation, and oxidative stress, the inside of those hoses becomes stiff, cracked, and narrowed. That's when problems begin. Here's the part that doesn't get enough attention. Blood vessel damage starts decades before disease shows up on a scan, and food plays a major role in either accelerating that damage or slowing it down dramatically. What the research shows is that foods rich in natural plant compounds called polyphenols protect the endothelium. These compounds increase nitric oxide, which allows blood vessels to relax and widen. Better blood flow means more oxygen to the brain, better memory and focus, stronger muscles, healthier heart function. This is one reason Dr. William Li often emphasizes foods that support the body's defense systems rather than targeting one disease at a time. Some of the most powerful blood vessel protective foods include extra virgin olive oil berries, especially blueberries and strawberries, dark leafy greens, beets, green tea. Now here's the important distinction. It's not about eating these foods occasionally. It's about daily exposure. Think of it like brushing your teeth. Doing it once a week doesn't work. Blood vessels respond the same way. Here's a simple daily protocol seniors can follow. Use olive oil as the primary fat. Include at least 1 cup of leafy greens daily. Add berries several times per week. Drink unsweetened green tea or coffee earlier in the day. Now let's address a common fear. Many seniors avoid fats because they were told fat clogs arteries. But what actually damages arteries is oxidized sugar and chronic inflammation, not natural fats from whole foods. In fact, replacing refined carbohydrates with healthy fats has been shown to improve vascular function, even in older adults. And if this explanation is helping you rethink what heart healthy really means, take a moment to subscribe. I share science-driven strategies like this every day to help you protect your body at the root level, not just manage symptoms. Here's the key takeaway from this section. Longevity flows through your blood vessels. Protect the vessels, and every organ benefits. Next, we're going to talk about an organ that almost never gets credit for longevity, but should: the liver. There's an organ quietly determining how fast you age, and most seniors never think about it until something goes wrong. That organ is the liver. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your liver is the metabolic control center. It manages blood sugar, processes fats, detoxifies chemicals, regulates cholesterol, and helps control inflammation. If the liver is overwhelmed, every aging pathway accelerates. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your liver like a large airport hub. Every plane, sugar, fat, hormones, toxins must pass through it. When traffic is light and organized, everything runs smoothly. But when flights arrive nonstop with no rest periods, delays pile up, systems break down. In the body, that breakdown looks like fatty liver insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, hormonal imbalance, low energy, and brain fog. And here's the critical insight. Many seniors develop liver stress without drinking alcohol or being overweight. The biggest driver is not fat. It's excess sugar and constant eating. When glucose floods the liver repeatedly, the liver converts it into fat for storage. Over time, fat accumulates inside the liver itself. This condition is now one of the fastest growing metabolic problems in older adults. Why does this matter for longevity? Because a stressed liver raises blood sugar, raises triglycerides, raises inflammation, disrupts hormone signaling, suppresses fat burning. Now here's the good news. The liver is incredibly resilient. When given the right conditions, it repairs itself, even later in life. And food is the strongest lever we have. Longevity-supportive liver foods share 3 properties: low sugar load, high fiber, rich in protective plant compounds. Some of the most powerful include leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cabbage legumes, lentils, chickpeas, beans, garlic and onions, green tea. These foods activate detox pathways and reduce fat accumulation in the liver. But timing matters just as much as food. Here's a simple liver support protocol seniors can use. Avoid late night eating, keep dinner lighter than lunch, include fiber at every meal, allow at least 12 hours overnight without food. That overnight fasting window gives the liver time to burn stored fat and reset metabolic pathways. This is why many people notice better morning energy, less abdominal bloating, improved blood sugar, reduced inflammation. Now let's clear up a major misconception. Detox teas, cleanses, and extreme fasts are not required and often harmful for seniors. The liver doesn't need punishment. It needs rhythm, rest, and the right raw materials. When the liver works efficiently, blood sugar stabilizes hormones balance, fat burning resumes, the immune system functions better. This is why supporting liver health often leads to improvements across the entire body without medication changes. Here's the key takeaway. Longevity isn't just about the heart or brain. It's about keeping the liver flexible, rested, and metabolically calm. Next, we'll talk about protein, one of the most misunderstood topics in aging, and how eating it the right way can preserve muscle without accelerating aging. Let's continue. Next, excellent. Here is Section 7, Core Content, Section 5 of 6. Continuing naturally with a clear explanation and a natural CTA included, just as requested. Protein may be the most misunderstood nutrient in aging. Some seniors are told to eat very little protein to slow aging. Others are told to eat a lot to prevent muscle loss. Both extremes miss the real physiology. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Protein is not just a building material, it's a signal. It tells your body whether to grow, repair, or conserve. And as we age, our sensitivity to that signal changes. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of muscle like a savings account. When you're younger, small deposits build balance easily. But with age, the same deposits don't go as far. That's called anabolic resistance. So seniors need enough protein, but also the right timing and quality. Now here's where longevity comes in. Excessive, constant protein intake, especially from processed or red meats, activates growth pathways like mTOR all day long. That may help build muscle short-term, but chronically activating growth pathways is associated with faster aging and higher disease risk. On the other hand, too little protein leads to muscle loss, frailty, insulin resistance, and loss of independence. The goal is balance. What long-lived populations show us is this. They eat moderate protein from clean sources in distinct meals, not all day long. Protein sources that support longevity include fish and seafood, eggs, legumes, lentils, beans, chickpeas, fermented dairy, if tolerated, small amounts of poultry. These foods provide essential amino acids without excessive inflammatory burden. Now let's talk timing. This is critical. Instead of spreading protein across snacks all day, a better strategy is eat protein in 2 or 3 solid meals, prioritize protein earlier in the day, avoid heavy protein late at night. This creates pulses of growth and repair, followed by periods where the body can switch back into cleanup mode. One particularly important amino acid is leucine, which helps trigger muscle protein synthesis. You don't need supplements. Whole foods like eggs, fish, and legumes provide it naturally. Here's a simple daily protein framework for seniors. Aim for protein at breakfast and lunch. Keep dinner lighter. Combine protein with fiber and healthy fats. Avoid processed protein powders unless medically necessary. And here's something encouraging. When protein is eaten this way, studies show better muscle maintenance, improved insulin sensitivity, reduced inflammation, better mobility, and balance. This is how you protect strength and longevity at the same time. If this section is helping you rethink protein and aging, consider subscribing. I share clear science-based strategies like this every day to help you stay strong, independent, and metabolically healthy without extremes. Here's the key takeaway. Longevity is not about eating more protein or less protein. It's about sending the right signal at the right time. Next, we'll bring everything together with the final and most important principle. Why consistency, not perfection, is what actually allows people to live well into their 90s and beyond. If you study people who live into their 90s and 100s with clarity, mobility, and independence, one pattern stands out more than any specific food or nutrient. It's not perfection, it's consistency. Here's what's really going on inside the body. Your metabolism, immune system, and repair pathways respond to repeated signals over time, not occasional effort. One healthy meal doesn't change biology. One bad meal doesn't destroy it either. What matters is the average signal your body receives day after day. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body like a thermostat. You don't change the temperature by opening the door for 5 minutes. You change it by setting the dial slightly and leaving it there. Longevity works the same way. Centenarians don't eat perfectly, they eat predictably. They create a metabolic environment where blood sugar rarely spikes, inflammation stays low, muscles are regularly stimulated, repair pathways activate daily. This is why everyday foods matter more than superfoods. A bowl of beans eaten daily does more than a rare supplement. Olive oil used consistently does more than a detox cleanse. Walking daily does more than occasional intense exercise. What the research shows is that small, repeatable habits compound over decades. This includes eating whole foods most of the time, keeping eating windows consistent, moving the body daily, even gently, sleeping at regular times, managing stress predictably. Each of these sends a calming signal to the nervous system and hormones. And here's something very important for seniors. Your body doesn't respond well to chaos. Irregular eating, late nights, erratic diets, and constant switching between extremes confuse metabolic signaling. That confusion shows up as fatigue, cravings, inflammation, and poor recovery. Longevity favors rhythm. A simple rhythm might look like this. Similar breakfast most days, main meal in the middle of the day, lighter evening meals, daily movement, predictable sleep schedule. This steadiness reduces cortisol, improves insulin sensitivity, and allows repair systems to activate. Now here's the empowering part. You don't need to overhaul your life. Most of the benefit comes from repeating 5 to 6 supportive foods daily, avoiding 3 to 4 damaging habits consistently, giving your body the same gentle signals every day. This is why seniors who don't look their age often say things like, I eat simply, I don't snack much, I walk every day, I go to bed early. That's not luck. That's biology responding to consistency. Here's the key takeaway for this section. Longevity is built quietly, through small daily choices repeated for years, not through intensity, restriction, or perfection. And with that understanding, we're ready to bring everything together. If there's one message I want you to take away from today, it's this. Living to 100 is not about luck. It's about biology responding to the signals you send every day. We've walked through what's really happening inside the aging body, and more importantly, how simple foods and daily rhythms can shift that biology in your favor. Let's quickly recap the core insights. We started with the idea that longevity foods don't just nourish you. They activate your body's internal defense and repair systems. When you reduce constant insulin spikes and include polyphenol-rich, fiber-dense foods, you give your immune system and cellular cleanup pathways permission to work again. We then looked at blood sugar and insulin, one of the most powerful aging accelerators when left unchecked. Stable glucose doesn't come from extreme dieting. It comes from whole foods, fiber, healthy fats, and giving your body breaks from constant eating. Next, we focused on blood vessels, the true gatekeepers of long life. When the inner lining of your arteries stays flexible and protected, every organ benefits. Your brain, your heart, your muscles, and your energy levels. We talked about the liver, the quiet metabolic control center. When the liver is overloaded, aging speeds up. When it's supported with the right foods and rhythms, metabolism, hormones, and inflammation improve, often dramatically. We addressed protein, not as a number, but as a signal. Eating moderate amounts from clean sources at the right times preserves muscle and strength without pushing the body into constant growth mode. And finally, we landed on the most important principle of all, consistency. Longevity is not built through perfection. It's built through small, repeatable habits that create a calm, predictable metabolic environment year after year. Now here's your simple challenge. You don't need to change everything at once. Pick just one of these changes today. Add 1 cup of leafy greens to your meals. Replace refined oils with olive oil. Stop eating 3 hours before bed. Eat protein earlier in the day. Walk for 20 minutes daily. Then observe how your body responds. Your energy, your digestion, your sleep, your clarity. That awareness is powerful. Because when you understand how your body works, you stop fighting it and you start working with it. If this video added value to your life,